Yo, what's up guys, it's King Sean here, and in today's video, I want to go over some of the new top 30 visits and private workouts that have been announced over the past week or two. I haven't talked about them yet, so in today's video, I want to talk about them for the Commanders. So these are all players the Commanders either brought in for a visit, a top 30 visit, or had a private workout with. But before we get into today's video, make sure y'all leave a like down below, subscribe if you're not already subbed up, turn on notifications, and with that out of the way, let's get straight into today's video. Alright, so I actually want to start off with guys we've had private workouts with, and we've had private workouts with two guys from the same school, actually, Miami. Andres Borregales, kicker from Miami, and wide receiver Xavier Restrepo. Let's start with kicker Andres Borregales. So it was announced on April 1st, so 3 days ago, that we are holding a private workout with Miami kicker Andres Borregales. Special teams coordinator Larry Izzo is at the University of Miami with Borregales, right? So that is pretty significant, at least to me, right? We signed Zane Gonzalez back to a one-year deal, but worth the vet minimum, and we knew that we were going to bring in competition for him, right? And we could draft a kicker. There aren't really any kicker free agent options out there. There's Nick Folk, but he's old, like he's like 40, 41, and he's starting to lose some of his power in his leg, right? So we really don't want a, old kicker who's starting to lose that power in his leg, right? So getting a young kicker that can develop and become a really good kicker would be awesome, right? And usually drafted kickers coming out of college don't really do well in the NFL, but maybe that could change this year because a guy like Andres Borregales, he was really, really good at Miami. Now, he's probably going to go drafted, maybe undrafted, but my best guess is he goes in like the 6th or 7th round, maybe earlier than that, hopefully not. Probably just the 6th or 7th round though, and I would not mind spending our 6th or 7th round pick on him at all. He was 62 for 62 from extra points this past season. He made 94.7% of his field goals as well. So Andres Borregales, super accurate from not only extra points but also field goals. It also seems like Borregales has a pretty good leg as well. He banged a 65-yarder at Miami's Pro Day a couple of days ago, so big leg and accurate at Miami. Now, once again, college kickers haven't really transitioned well, to the NFL really over the past 2 decades, right? So that is a concern. However, I would not mind drafting Borregales in like the 6th or 7th round. Nothing earlier, but spending your 6th or 7th round on a kicker like Borregales who was super accurate in college and has a good leg, I wouldn't mind that at all. So once again, we did set up a private workout with kicker Andres Borregales. Xavier Restrepo, let's talk about him real quick. We set up a private workout with him. It was reported yesterday that we did. And Xavier Restrepo is an interesting prospect. He's a pure slot receiver. And when I watched him, I liked his tip. I definitely did. He knows how to work in space. He's really good against zone. He shows pretty decent run after catch ability, really good ball tracker. He's quicker than fast, and he's definitely quicker than fast. He ran a 4.83 40 at his pro day, which is crazy. I thought he would run a 4.5. Like, I didn't expect him to run fast. He's quicker than fast, and he has decent rack ability, but he doesn't have pull away speed to just go and take a short pass all the way to the end zone, right? So I didn't expect him to run like a crazy fast 40, like a 4.4 or a 4.3, but somewhere in the 4.5s, maybe like high 4.4s, sub 4.5s. But a 4.8 is crazy, man. A 4.83, bro, come on. Like, I just know that's going to drop his draft stock. Now, when you watch his tape, he's definitely faster than that, and I heard he tweaked his hamstring, according to Restrepo himself. But still, a 4.83, bro, that's crazy. Like, that is insane. And he plays faster than that, but teams see that, and he might fall a lot. And right now, I personally had a early round 3 grade on him before his pro day. Now, he probably goes like round 4, which is so unfortunate because he's better than that. And he's faster on tape, but man, that 4.83 probably killed his draft stock a little bit, right? He had 69 receptions for over 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns this past season at Miami, so super productive, especially with Cam Ward as his quarterback. He's a really good chain mover. Once again, he knows how to work in space, and he's a very solid route runner, but overall, he's probably just going to be a pure slot receiver in the NFL, and especially with him not being super fast and a little bit undersized. Pretty sure he's 5'9", 5'10", right? So he's pretty much a pure slot receiver, but we could need that, right? Like, we could use a guy that, you know, can move the chains, has decent rack ability. I would not be surprised if he fell to the 4th round, and we do have a 4th round pick, so if he fell to our pick, definitely would not mind taking him with our 4th round pick. So once again, we have set up a private workout with Xavier Restrepo. Now let's move on to these top 30 visits, and first guy up is another receiver, Arian Smith out of Georgia, and he is a speedster. He is pure speed. I think he ran a 4.3 at the combine. Might have to double check that, but he has great speed and elusiveness, man. He's good with the ball in his hands. Like, you can give it to him on a screen, and he can honestly turn up and do a little sum, right? He has really good burst off the line, good acceleration after getting the ball, very slippery, and he can be a really good deep ball threat, and that's pretty much how he was used when he was with Georgia or at Georgia, right? He could get behind the defense, so they just sent him on a bunch of go routes. Now, the downside to that is that's pretty much all he did, right? So he was pretty much a one-trick pony. He does not have much to his route tree, doesn't have much to his release package as well. Not super physical, not a great blocker, inconsistent hands, and not a great contested catcher due to his lack of physicality, right? So this guy, he's got tools. He's a really good speedster, and he's pretty solid with the ball in his hands. Great acceleration, great elusiveness, and he's a really good deep ball threat. But outside of that, can't really do much else, right? And he actually hasn't had a bad draft process so far. I thought he looked pretty solid at the Senior Bowl, but it really took him until this past season to really start to look like a guy that can be really, really good in the future in the NFL, right? He's a day 3 prospect, and I actually wouldn't mind spending one of my day 3 picks on him. In fact, he may go undrafted, right? Because, you know, I mentioned that he is a great deep ball threat, but outside of that, you know, doesn't have much of a route tree, right? And he has inconsistent hands, not very physical, not a great blocker, right? These are all intangibles that are important for a receiver to have. So because of that, I could honestly see him going undrafted. But Arian Smith does have speed, and that's something we could use in our receiver core. So because of that alone, I don't think I would mind adding him maybe with one of our day 3 picks, probably our 6th or 7th round pick. Or if he goes undrafted, I would not mind signing him as a UDFA at all. Up next, we got 2 cornerbacks. Let's start with cornerback out of Rice, Sean Fresh. We set up a top 30 visit with him. It was reported last week. I can't find a whole lot about Sean Fresh, so gonna have to watch film on him when I get the time to. But he's been at Rice over the past 5 years, or, you know, his entire collegiate career. This past season at Rice, he had 1 TFL, 1 interception, and a total of 45 tackles. But what stood out the most to me with Sean Fresh is that he has returner experience. He was a punt returner. Let me pull up his stats right here, actually. He was a punt returner in 2023 and 2022, and he returned kicks in 2023 and in 2021. So this guy has returner experience, and we really don't know who's going to be our returners, right? Like, I don't really know any guys on the roster that have returner experience, to be honest with you. So getting a guy that has returner ability and is also able to play at another position at a pretty solid level, like Sean Fresh, he is a smaller guy, 5'9", 170 pounds, so he may just be like a nickel back, right? But he could be good depth, and he could develop into something pretty solid, right? So he may be a guy that you want to pay attention to on day 3 because, or an undrafted free agent, right? He could go undrafted because there isn't like a lot of hype around him, and he hasn't really stood out, but he has been pretty solid for Rice, and he does have returner experience. So watch out for him on day 3 and as a UDFA if he goes undrafted. And then we have cornerback out of Louisville, Quincy Riley, who I do know about and has been solid in his time in college. Now, he's going to be 24 when the season starts, and he spent 6 years in college, which, to be honest with you, that's not really a concern to me because nowadays guys are just going to be older prospects with the COVID year back in 2020 and also NIL keeping guys in college for longer, right? Why go to the NFL if I can just make money in college, right? So I'll just wait a little bit. So I'm not really too concerned about his age. Some guys like Tyler Shuck, quarterback out of Louisville, he's 25, right? Which is insane. So I'm not really concerned about his age, but he's put up pretty solid production in his collegiate career. This past season at Louisville wasn't amazing, but the year before that, he was really good. Had 3 interceptions, and he was just outstanding in coverage. This past season, he had 2 interceptions. In 2022, had 3 interceptions. In 2021, had 5 interceptions. So he does have really, really good ball skills and awareness, and is really good at timing up with receivers at the catch point. Really good at breaking up passes. Has really good twitch and bursts out of his breaks, and is a very fluid athlete with his size, and he is 5'11", 194 pounds, so he can work in the inside and on the outside. So this guy has the traits to become a really good cornerback in the NFL. He's projected to go round 4, and I could definitely see us picking him with our 4th round pick, which is 128th overall, so he may be available by that time, and I could definitely see us picking him because he would be a good cornerback you're adding to the room. And then lastly, we set up a top 30 visit with Louisville defensive end Ashton Gillotte. I hope I pronounced his name right. I have not watched his film yet, which is kind of surprising because I've gone through almost all the edge rusher film and I have not gone to his film yet. So I'm definitely going to get to his film and see what he's about, right? But just going based off of his stats, he looks like a pretty solid edge rusher, pretty productive at Louisville. This past season wasn't as good, 4.5 sacks, but the season before he led the ACC in sacks with 11. The season before that he had 7 sacks, so pretty productive sack wise, and I heard he's a pretty solid run defender as well, and he has some pass rush moves in his bag, right? So that's just all the things I've heard about Ashton Gillotte. Pretty good size at 6'3", 276. Kind of feels like he would fit more of that 3-4 scheme with his size, but again, I haven't watched his film yet, so I can't really say, right? But just judging off his size, kind of looks more of like a 3-4 end, right? But I gotta watch his film, right? So to clearly judge him, but he's an interesting prospect, and he was pretty productive at Louisville, just judging off his stats, and we have scheduled a top 30 visit with him. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below your thoughts on any of the guys I talked about in today's video. All these guys, the Commanders, either scheduled a private workout with or a top 30 visit with. So comment down below your thoughts on any of these guys. And other than that, it's been Kayshawn, and I'm out. Peace.